Welcome to another episode of Afternoon Live. It's Thursday, April 10. Okay, there we go. And it's almost time for the annual Holy Week celebration, especially to those who are Catholics. And to say this in advance, Happy Semana Santa, as we call it, annual Holy Week celebration in the Philippines. So first of all, we call that, and it's actually historical. And we often refer to this locally in Filipino as Semana Santa, at in some cases yung mahal na araw. And this is a long week or week-long celebration, especially sa mga Katoliko. And the theme or the significance to that is the commemoration of the Passion, the death, and the resurrection of our Lord Jesus Christ. So for starters, we're going to talk about on what's within this annual solemnity of celebration. It actually begins from Palm Sunday, which will happen this coming Sunday, the 13th of April. Is it the 13th of April? Yes, it is the 13th of April, until Easter Sunday, which falls on the 20th of April. So from Palm Sunday to Easter Sunday, this is the Holy Week celebration. All right. Now we're going to talk about historically on what's behind this week-long annual Holy Week in the Philippines. So here we go. So this solemn celebration begins on the Friday of Sorrows. I'll try to go and some search about what is the Friday of Sorrows, turning into Palm Sunday, and continues week-long hanggang sa Easter Sunday. Then so many communities observe Spanish-influenced Catholic rituals, such as processions that have been syncretized with elements of pre-colonial beliefs. Okay, so here we go. This is evident in some ritual places that are not sanctioned by the Universal Church, and the many superstitions associated with the occasion. Because first of all, we've been colonized by the Spaniards, and one of the influence that we get is the from the Spanish colonization is religion. So that means to say, many of us, and in here in the Philippines, we are predominantly Catholic country. So this is why we have this annual week-long celebration that follows to these significant events. Now, we're going to talk about what is behind these 7 days. So, starting off from Palm Sunday, which worshippers bear ornately woven palm fronds or palaspas to church for the blessing by the priest before or after the day's mass. So let's say it is still a regular, but it is already a special edition for Catholic masses for the priest with this Palm Sunday edition. And the fronds, which considered by the church as sacramentals, are often brought home and placed on altars, doors, lintels, or windows, in the belief that these can ward off demons and avert both fires and the lightning. So this is what we call the Palm Sunday. Next, we have the two subsequent Holy Monday and Tuesday. So let's say Lunes Santo at Martes Santo, which is the major procession of the journey to Calvary takes to the streets, and the main figure is the fallen Christ, accompanied by the images of saints present during Christ's walk to Calvary. There is Saint Peter holding the heavenly keys, the beloved Saint John, the three Marys, Saint Veronica with her white veil implanted with the Christ image, Mary Magdalene bearing small bottles of oil and perfume, and the Virgin of Sorrows. So in some parts of the country where there is abundance of wood as well as skilled craftsmen, life-size wooden images are constructed so that they are able to move their arms and heads like puppets. while Holy Tuesday is still a regular working day, which is also the same with Holy Monday, still a regular working day. We're going to talk about the Thursday to Sunday later on, because yung Martes Santo or Holy Thursday, which is already considered to be the start as the statutory public holiday. So therefore, Tuesday, Holy Tuesday is still a regular work day. Okay. Now let's move on to Holy Wednesday, which is Mercules Santo, which is officially the last working day of the week. And as you can see, some private institutions or some institutions opted to, let's say, how am I going to put this? To give a half-day suspension starting from lunchtime for their employees, and even schools. Um, some universities or educational institutions would be given an option to give an afternoon off so that they can give way for and I think it is also essential um, for some students involved who might be going back to their respective provinces or out of town so that they can spend time with their families. And I think this also applies to um, yung mga some people, kumbaga, that will be traveling back to their provinces, same reason, to spend time with their family and their loved ones. So private companies are free to give full or partial holidays to their employees, while government offices will implement a half-day suspension starting lunchtime for their employees. So, yeah. Uh, so as I've mentioned earlier, okay, about starting lunchtime to implement a half-day working suspension, so that because if you can see, some of the employees would be given this off so that they can, or there might be some employees who would be going back to their respective provinces, again same reason, to spend time with their loved ones. And this lets people return to their home provinces, yes, for this holiday, and holiday makers to leave for their destinations, making it one of the country's busiest travel seasons. So let's say ang Semana Santa, yan ang isang travel season para sa mga pasahero. So that same reason, 'di ba? And some would opt as well to give way for their vacation time, and some would be given an opportunity for their relax, 'di ba? Okay, okay, and that is Holy Wednesday. Now, let's go to the first statutory public holiday of the week, and that marks the beginning of the Holy Week break, which is yung Jueves Santo or Maundy Thursday. So, what does that mean to you? So, okay, here we go. So prior to the Second Vatican Council, the procession of the Passion of the Christ was held on a Maundy Thursday, and this was later transferred to Holy Wednesday for Latin Church Catholics, with the Philippine Independent Church retaining the Maundy Thursday date. Among the most famous processions of the Philippine Independent Church are those of Concepcion in Malabon and Santa Cruz and Paete in Laguna. And the first rite of the day is the Chrism Mass, in which parishioners join their priest for morning mass in the cathedral, especially in the large diocese and archdiocese. And this is where the Holy Week break began for most institutions. Or let's say, you know what's funny? They might take an advantage. Some people might be taking advantage of this this annual celebration, so that they can spend time on their vacation, and yes, as mentioned earlier, for their rest days. Now, here we go. This is one of the most important part of the Holy Week tradition here. So Good Friday o yung Biyernes Santo, and it's considered the most solemn day of the year, which it is observed with street processions, the way of the cross, sermons, and prayers meditating on the Jesus' seven last words, and the staging of Cenaculo, which in some places has already begun on Palm Sunday. And as you can see, Good Friday is the most important solemn day of the year. It's because this is where it represents that Jesus Christ has been suffering on his way to the cross, and this is where he is crucified. And this is where the same tradition where in most Catholic masses or churches in general will be tackling about the seven last words of our Lord Jesus Christ. So yeah, um, and to meditate as well on before before his eventual death. And here we go. And so here we go. Mass is not celebrated on this day. Instead, people gather in churches in the afternoon for the veneration of the cross service and the Mass of the Presanctified. Nationwide, the veneration service begins silently in unlit churches at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, remembering the ninth hour that was the instant Christ died according to the Gospels. So, mhm. So yeah, yan ang ito. Oh, and before we're going to talk about the Friday and the rest of the week, if we can talk about the Ash Wednesday, that actually begun way before, and that is the beginning of this fasting for the Catholics. And as you can see, starting from Ash Wednesday, as well as Fridays before on every Fridays before Easter Sunday, and starting from Ash Wednesday, um, they really have to fast. And how do they do it? They don't actually eat meat, as you can see. Now, okay, mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is the one. Now for Black Saturday, we're already on the weekend, so also known as Sábado de Gloria, which is the third and final public holiday of the week, and it is legally and colloquially referred in English as the so-called black, given the color's role in the mourning. So as I did mention about the color representation or what's behind the meaning on one of the episodes back then when we talk about the when we talk about what's with the colors, but mourning is one of the meanings given to representation as the black color, which is given the color's role in the morning. And it refers to the return of the Gloria in Excelsis Deo during the Easter Vigil held on this day. And the hymn is absent throughout Lent except in solemnities and Maundy Thursday. And most commercial establishments operate on shorter hours, with smaller enterprises in many areas remaining closed until Easter Sunday or Easter Monday. But some return to normal in major urban areas. And yeah, so we're going to talk about this later on. And finally, Easter Sunday, which it is marked with joyous celebrations, and the first being the pre-dawn rite called salubong, or let's say welcome in here. And the rite is customarily performed in the early hours of Easter before the first Mass, and in some parishes the rite is held earlier at midnight, immediately after the long Easter Vigil proper, retaining in the same format. And this is what we call or refer to as not just the end of the Holy Week, the annual long Holy Week celebration, but it also marks the day representing that Jesus Christ has been resurrected, and he rose from the dead once again. And um, to talk about this, statues of both are born into two separate processions that converge at a designated area called the Galilee, which is often an open space with a purpose-built scaffold near the church. Uh, which I'm talking about earlier is the ritual is meant to depict the apocryphal reunion of the Christ and his mother, the Virgin Mary, after the resurrection. So, as mentioned, Easter Sunday is like a celebration for Catholics here because because this is the day where the Christ has been resurrected from the dead, which is considered to be a joyous celebration. Okay, and now we get to know about the different um, Holy Week days. And before we go to a break for a while, the Friday of Sorrows is a solemn pious remembrance of the sorrowful Blessed Virgin Mary on the Friday before Palm Sunday, held on the fifth week of Lent. Ah, okay. So, okay. Yeah. So since Ash Wednesday, this is already the beginning of the Lenten season. All right. So yeah, this is the Friday of Sorrows, and it will start tomorrow, the 11th of April. Now we're going to talk about more on this when Afternoon Live returns after the break. And welcome back to Afternoon Live. Now we're going to talk some more about what's going to happen throughout the Holy Week, especially for Monday, Thursday until Easter Sunday. So here we go. The days of Monday, Thursday until Black Saturday especially are considered statutory holidays. And because of this, during this period, many businesses are closed or operate on shorter hours, like okay, and like the malls and some establishments, while others opted to close in the entire of the holidays. I think particularly as well on, let's say, shorter businesses or entrepreneurs or something like that. And here we go. And here we go. Local terrestrial television and most radio stations usually go off the air, not because of the Holy Week celebration. By the way, in fact, it's not required for TV and radio stations in the Philippines to go off the air. They usually take advantage of this Holy Week break for the annual maintenance of their broadcast equipment as well as especially their transmitters, while others, such as stations or networks owned by various denominations, continuing their broadcasting hours, but features, movies, documentaries, drama specials, and other shows focused on religious events and other topics related to the Christian faith. And some radio stations and networks aired automated Christian, R&B, and mellow music content. Holy Week celebrations also received wide news coverage of various services and rites, and we're going to talk about this sometime later in someday. And in conclusion, Holy Week in the Philippines is also highly anticipated as one of the annual long weekends in the country. And as you can see, one of the busiest seasons for travelers and passengers that will go to their respective provinces to same reason, spend time with their families and their loved ones. And as well as to, especially for Catholics, to be given an opportunity to practice their Catholic faith, and also to Christians as well to celebrate and especially to meditate on the seven last words of Jesus Christ, on Good Friday event. So here we go. Non-Catholics or non-practicing Catholics take this opportunity to go on vacations. Yes, as I did mention earlier, resulting to a peak season in most Philippine tourist destinations. And that is it for some discussion about Holy Week celebrations here on Afternoon Live. Oh, and because of this, I have to give you this announcement. Afternoon Live will go off the air. um, Afternoon Live will take a week-long break to, let's say, take opportunity of this Holy Week celebration event. How am I going to put this? Uh, this is for the Holy Week. Afternoon Live will stop its streams to go for this break. But if necessary, especially for Genshin updates or some content, and especially the fact that next week we will have the second phase banner, I will, if necessary, I'll still give you the Genshin Tonight version updates whenever if it is needed. And I think for the events, I wasn't able to give you an update about the next event that is currently happening right now. Not the flagship event, Tournament of Glory and Bloom. In fact, it's almost over. So if you still haven't taken that event yet, please do so until it will disappear in a few days' time. And as well as Varesa's limited time event. By the way, I'm already done with Varesa's. And before we go, I will be selling once again pancakes at 20. Again, it's supposed to be pancake at 20 plus. Okay, I will continue. Okay, another batch of my pancakes will be go selling tomorrow. So if you still haven't take the chance to try out my pancakes, then you may do so at any time. I'm actually open from either Tuesdays or Fridays. All right, so, and there we have it. This wraps up today's episode of Afternoon Live. For more interesting content, please do not forget to follow me on my social media channels on YouTube and on Twitch. Once again, I'm Chanushino. Thanks for watching, although this might be a long broadcast yet. And have a good afternoon, everyone. And I'll see you in 2 weeks from now after Holy Week, hopefully, or if I'm not really that busy at all. So until the next episode, once again, thanks for watching and have a good afternoon, everyone.